So your position is that a woman should legally be allowed to terminate, and if at any point I got this wrong, please tell me, because I really want to understand. A woman should be allowed to terminate a pregnancy at any point in the pregnancy and for any reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, at any point.
Yeah.
I'm going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move, and then you move to a line that corresponds to your belief. Abortion should be legal. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. Okay, you strongly agree that abortion should be legal. Tell him why you think it should be legal.
Bodily autonomy, for caring of people who need health care, people who have pregnancies that are troublesome. The doctors need to be empowered to do what they need to do to help that pregnant person.
Okay. Tell her why you're on the slightly disagree as opposed, slightly agree, my apologies, as opposed to any other line.
I agree with the bodily autonomy argument to a point. I think there should be some limitations. I don't think that a woman should be able to get an abortion at like 9 months or 8 months. I'm not exactly sure where that cutoff is. Mm-hmm. And I think there have been some unintended societal consequences to the legalization of abortion. So while I ultimately feel that a woman's right to choose trumps some of those negative consequences, I'm a little bit wary or skeptical. So
okay, so you said something very important that I heard him say. You said for you the line, and if I don't want to put words in your mouth. Yeah. So the line you're on depends on the month or the trimester, although that's not a word to use, in which she wants to have an abortion. Is that accurate?
To some extent, yeah. It's a major variable to me.
So within the first week is different from within the
last.
Okay, so let's reset to neutral. Reset to neutral.
Okay.
Let's go reset to neutral. We're going to do another claim. Abortion should be legal in the first trimester. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. Okay, so you moved all the way to the agree. You moved to strongly agree. Okay, good. Let's get reset to the neutral. Move over just a little more. Excellent. Abortion should be legal in the first trimester and second trimester. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. Okay. Reset to the neutral, reset to the neutral. Abortion should be legal in the first trimester, second trimester, and third trimester. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. Okay. Reset to the neutral, please. A little more. Oh, that's perfect. Abortion should be legal. I don't. Well, this is my game. Abortion should be legal up to the last day. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move.
Accurate question.
How should I frame it?
At 9 months, 8 months, 7 months, many times the pregnancy is still viable, so that would not be considered abortion. It would just be an early delivery. And at 7 or 8 or 9 months, there's no such thing as abortion at full-term abortions, because that would be a viable fetus and a viable delivery. And in most cases, I'm not a doctor, that would not be an abortion. You're labeling abortion incorrectly.
Okay, let's do this. Okay, so let's go back to the neutral line. So I realized something very important. You're correct. I realized something very important, that I made a mistake. And the mistake that I made was I did not ask people to define or see if we can agree upon a definition of abortion. Right. So I apologize. I should have done that, and I'm going to do that right now. What is the definition of abortion?
Abortion is ending an unintended pregnancy.
Do you agree with that definition?
I don't know whether the intended or unintended makes a difference. Like, what if a woman intended to get pregnant, but then a month in, there's some...
Her husband dies?
Yeah, or something like that. And she's like, I don't want to have this child anymore.
Or it has, okay.
But I do agree with the ending of pregnancy thing. Yeah.
So does the unintended have to be in the definition?
No, that's what I choose to call it. Yeah.
So what definition could we agree upon here? Is that what part of that did you agree with?
The ending of pregnancy. Terminating pregnancy.
I agree with ending of pregnancy.
Okay, so can
Terminating a pregnancy by getting rid of the
fetus?
Yes. 'cause
Zygote. Now there's terminology.
Theoretically,
It could
you can
be a
have a baby
zygote. It
and
depends
end
on what
pregnancy.
level.
Okay, can we agree so we can have a conversation that we will agree, and I don't want to force your agreement on this.
Yeah.
Can we agree that we can just simplify it and call it terminating a pregnancy?
Sounds fair.
You have viability.
Is viability a part of the definition?
Is it for you?
Or is that your...
Oh, yeah. No, the what
think
do
it
you
was
mean by
hers.
unviable?
Yeah,
Like,
I want to see if he agrees with her. If viability should be part of it.
I don't know.
Well, what do you mean? Is viability important to you? Important to the definition?
What's happening here is a lot of niche issues here. So I'm trying to understand what you're trying to accomplish by having the conversation. I'm not trying to change your idea,
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm not a doctor, so viable.
None of
means-
us are doctor. You're not a doctor.
Definitely not.
Viable means can something still survive after it's born?
I don't think we need viable to have. We can just call it terminating a pregnancy.
I use viable because you use the term pregnant, an abortion at like 8 months or 9 months.
Right. And that's not
terminating
considered a viable pregnancy?
Okay, terminating a pregnancy.
Yeah, the day before, it's viable. So therefore, it would be abortion under her definition.
Is that right?
Yeah, I wouldn't label it abortion. It would just be an early
Viable as
delivery.
in the ability for the fetus to survive outside the womb.
Yeah.
Oh, so you do need the word viable in there then.
Not use the word abortion. just
Okay,
say-
interesting.
Terminating.
Well, I'm still on
terminating
my dad's
a
cell phone plan, so I'm not viable outside the womb. But
All right, so you can just say. Can we agree terminating a pregnancy?
Terminating pregnancy is a good
Sure,
word.
yeah,
Is-
Terminating a
pregnancy.
pregnancy.
Okay, then let's do that. I'm not going to use the word abortion. Women.
Poor husband's waiting for me. I know
He's
you-
having a great time with the dog over there. Okay, but go back to the neutral.
Go to neutral.
Okay. It should be legally allowed for women to terminate a pregnancy in the first trimester. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. Okay. It should be legally allowed for women to terminate a pregnancy in the second trimester. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. It should be legally allowed for women to terminate a pregnancy in the third trimester. It should be legally allowed for women to terminate a pregnancy at the very, very end, like the last day of the third trimester. Now we can have a conversation. Huh? Yeah, if you want. Can you explain to him in clear language why you hold that position?
Well, it would be having an early delivery at that point.
so she would have the baby.
Terminating means.
Yeah, there's
the
no such
killing
thing
of-
as killing
killing of the love.
an almost 9-month-old baby that's almost born.
Oh, so
It-
at
it-
that point, if like
It's,
hold on,
it's not-
hold
it's
on,
not
hold on.
called abortion. It's
No, I didn't say abortion.
But I know-
Terminating a pregnancy.
But that's early delivery. I'm not using. I'm not a doctor. Yeah, termination. That would be inducing early because something was going on, like the placenta came early or it came unattached.
am I missing?
And they're bleeding to death, and they got it.
I'm missing something.
They're inducing.
having the
They
baby.
have different definitions.
They have to induce it, but you can't
What?
do that
Human
here
kill
in
the child.
Texas.
Okay.
You can't do that here in Texas. You can't
Okay,
induce.
so I have made
That's
another
just- yeah.
mistake. And if I made a mistake, I'm going to tell you I made a mistake. And I made a mistake, and I'm sorry. What I have realized is that we have different definitions of termination.
Yeah, and really, the bottom line for me and why I keep standing here is because it's my body. It's not your body. It's my choice. I get to do what I want with my body. That would be the equivalent of me telling you, no, you can't get that vasectomy because that's going to hurt me and society, et cetera. I know of no law, whether it be a governmental law on a national level, local level, that tells a man what he can and cannot do with his body.
slightly agree on that.
You know, and that's why I stand here, and that's why I'm going to be with Planned Parenthood tomorrow, supporting what they do.
Hold on, I want to figure out why you moved. So you moved all the way from the strongly disagree to the side. Was it because of a point that she made that caused you to move? Why did you move?
If what we're talking about is the woman's right to choose whether or not to have an abortion,
In the third trimester.
well, then I strongly disagree.
Well, then get back there.
I guess what you're saying, what was your name again?
Marcy.
I guess what Marcy's saying is that in the third trimester, or like the day before pregnancy, she's just having the baby at that point. The baby's not gonna die, right? It's just.
But it's so complex. That's why you can't have laws around this, because you could have someone in their last trimester. There's a complication. In other words, the placenta comes unattached and the person starts to bleed.
Yeah.
But it's maybe 2 weeks early. Today in Texas, you can't induce that person, because that pill that induces is right now being considered illegal. Okay, it's in the process of being made illegal. The doctors can't do that right now.
Would inducing the pregnancy end the baby's life?
Not necessarily. I can't make that. I don't know what the situation is, but not necessarily. You're trying to. You're
very much an emergency situation.
Yeah, and they can't do the emergency stuff now because of these laws.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You had said that there's no law that tells a man what he can or cannot do with his body. Do you think that the abortion issue is somewhat not just about what a woman can do with her body, but what she can do with the body growing inside of her body, that the fetus has rights or things like that? Like, what do you think about that?
I believe a personhood should take a second, be the second level of importance to what's going on in their body.
And you don't believe that? Why?
Because that person is the one that's going through all of that process. The person who's pregnant, whether it be a woman, transgender, or gender nonconforming person, has the right to make the decisions for themselves. We don't know whether they have, they could be someone going under cancer treatments. They could be someone who has a diabetic type issue, that being pregnant, or a very complex health issue that by being pregnant, it could risk their lives. But today, in this state and many others, that person doesn't have that choice to do that anymore. And that's just inhumane, unconsiderate, unloving, and uncaring for fellow human beings.
Yeah.
Is there ever a conflict of right to life, like the mother versus the child?
What do you mean by that?
I mean, like,
That's what's going on right now. That's what's going on right now. People are saying that the thing growing inside you is more important than you.
I'm not saying it's more important, but is it at all important?
That's for the individual to decide. That's a personal decision. That's a personal decision. And that's why when I was 22, I had an abortion. It wasn't the right time for me. I couldn't afford to have that child. Didn't want to have it with the person I was with. My parents would have disowned me. The church would have totally kicked me out, because I was Catholic at the time. So in order to preserve my ability to be able to take care of myself as a human being, I had to make that choice. I worked in a male-dominated technical field. A single woman back in the 80s, pregnant, they would have gotten rid of me. And I wouldn't be standing with you here today being able to, advocate for other people, because I care about people, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
And I have a medical condition that would have been at high risk.
Yeah.
And so no one knows what people's situations are.
Yeah.
And we're just asking to have, legislators aren't doctors.
Yeah.
Just leave it with the doctors, please, and the professionals, not individuals,
So I'm trying to understand this myself. So maybe you can help me understand. So your position is that a woman should legally be allowed to terminate, and if at any point I got this wrong, please tell me, because I really want to understand. A woman should be allowed to terminate a pregnancy at any point in the pregnancy and for any reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, at any point.
Yeah, because we don't know.
And by that's a good thing. We need to clarify.
Terminate, save her life, to be able to, whatever they need to do to make that individual do it, be able to live their life.
By the way, first of all, I admire you for just sharing that. I feel like there's a camera on you. It's like it was very vulnerable.
Up in Capitol Hill in January.
I I think that takes courage to. That's very David.
David, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I admire that.
You know, I mean, you know, I've seen a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, people are suffering is what really makes me sad. People are
Yeah.
suffering.
Okay, what were you going to say?
I'm sorry, yes.
If you don't mind me asking you
David,
a
yeah.
personal question, at what point did you get your abortion? Like, at what stage in the?
I think I was about 8 weeks or so.
See, to me, that seems fine. That doesn't disrupt my sensibilities whatsoever. But if it was like
9 months.
7 months,
Eight-
that's when
eight-
I start going like
8.5 months.
I feel like unless there's a real medical emergency.
So if this,
Question,
if,
yeah, I know what you're going to ask, but I mean,
yeah.
it
What am I going to ask?
You're going to ask like, okay, but would that still be okay at do I agree it's okay at 7 months?
If there's no medical emergency and a woman just is like, you know, screw it, I just decided I don't want it. 8.5 months in, I'm just gonna, that's it.
Again, I'm not the physician, but at 8.5 months, that fetus, I don't know what it's called when it finally gets to be 8 months, you know, but I'm just saying, you know, that's up to the person and the doctor based upon what's going on.
Yeah,
You know?
ideally it would be case by case,
It's
but
case by case. That's why I don't believe there should be laws because there's too many cases. Case by case, you can't regulate something like this. It's like trying to regulate you know, you can't regulate something. It's too complex.
Okay. All right. Hold on one second. Let me ask a question. I'm trying to figure it out myself. What do you think? Because you said, now I'm not from Texas, so you probably.
I'm not originally from Texas either. I'm from the Northeast. I'm from Connecticut. I'm in Connecticut.
Wesleyan. I went to school.
Oh, okay.
This man went to Wesleyan.
Wesleyan, okay, New York, okay, all right. Hey, fellow New Englander, all right, yeah.
Actually, I'm from Boston, so
Okay,
I'll
cool,
take
man.
one.
All
I'll
right.
take one of those too. Reads
Okay, well, give
reads
me a bio.
in the.
Colonies.
Read.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so now my question, so I don't know about Texas law, but in Texas law, they're cracking down on abortions apparently, is that correct?
Yeah, you can't get an
Okay.
abortion.
So what is their reasoning for doing so?
I can't speak for the legislatures, but I can't speak for the ones who agree, but who think it's best. They're trying to save what they claim to be babies.
So maybe this is another definitional thing. Is there any point when the fetus is in the woman, a pregnant woman, that it becomes a baby?
That's a hot topic. That they're
Harder than this topic?
that you know it's they call it the heartbeat bill, but technically at 6 weeks there's no heartbeat. There's no heart yet. Okay, there's noise in that little zygote that's making noise, and they call that a heartbeat. Okay, but I just feel that the legislature here in Texas and other states that want to restrict abortion are doing that to control women, transgender and non-gender conforming people, because people can go prior to this bill being able to take a pill and end a pregnancy, and it gives us it empowers us to be who we want to be as individuals.
Well, okay, hold on. I was with you up there, but you threw me a curveball.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things I try to do is I try to follow the reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
I was completely with you until you threw transgender in there, and then you threw me off.
That's
Explain
a whole other topic, man. There are transgender people who transition from one sex to another.
So why did you throw that in there with relation to abortion?
Because transgender men can have children.
Okay, but how does that factor into your reasoning process for the legalization of abortion?
Because they're people. I'm being inclusive language. Thank you. I don't know what your name is, but
Reed Nice Wonder.
Reed, thank you, Reed. Yeah,
And Nice Wonder is his real name.
Yeah, inclusive language. That's why I said that.
To be inclusive.
I don't want to leave people out, and there's some people that don't identify as any gender. So we want to, that's a whole another.
Okay, let's go to the neutral. Let's go to the neutral.
But are we done? But we need to wrap up.
Real quick.
Yeah,
Okay, he's gonna
yeah.
go to the neutral. Hurry! Don't think, just go. Up. Okay, only females can get pregnant. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. Okay, real quick. Explain what you mean to him. Tell him.
Someone can become transgender and identify as male, but they're still able to they have all their organs still intact and they still can get pregnant.
Why are you on the agree? Tell her.
You use the term female, which strikes me as a biological term.
Yeah, there's biological. Okay. There's what you identify as in society. Okay. But you can, some people don't identify as male or female, they or them. So that's
It too. I know someone who goes by it.
yeah,
And frog pronouns, neo pronouns.
LGBTQ, you don't want to leave those individuals out because they're very important people.
Can humans change their sex?
I'm not a doctor, but yeah, they can.
And what would a test be to know if someone changed their sex? How could we figure that out?
I'm not a doctor, but we're getting off the topic of abortion.
True.
And you're getting out of an area that I really can't talk much about. Okay, there's a whole process and it's very involved going through that. But yeah, it exists.
Okay, so let me ask you a question real quick. So you stressed a few times that you're not a doctor. I'm not a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Reed Nicewonder is a doctor. This dude over there he's not a doctor. But you were comfortable talking about abortion even though you're not a doctor.
Correct.
Why aren't you comfortable talking about trans issues even though you're not a doctor?
Oh, I feel comfortable about talking about trans issues. That's why I brought them out. I brought I'm using inclusive language, but I feel like you're kind of getting off.
We are getting off abortion.
Yeah, we are getting off abortion.
Huh? Is that okay?
I'd rather just really stick with abortion unless you have anything else to say about it.
No, the only reason I mentioned, this is really true. The only reason I mentioned abortion is because you threw me for a curve because we were talking about abortion and then you threw trans people in there and I didn't understand where that came in. Like I was trying to figure out.
It's just inclusive language. I mean, don't make any more of it than it is. It's just inclusive language. That's all.
That a trans man can have an abortion because they are biologically female. So when the proposition is only females can get pregnant.
You're over there now.
Yeah. Because he said it
When
very good.
The proposition is only females can get pregnant, that seems just definitionally true.
You're leaving people up.
Female as in the biological term.
Yeah, right. Leaves people.
I think a man or a woman who identifies as a man can get pregnant because
Like Buck
they're
Angel.
still- What's Buck Angel?
Buck Angel is someone that Travis Brown just interviewed for his series, is a biological woman who appears a biological. Excuse me, the language is
Might be
tricky.
semantic here, because I think when he
could
says
be.
female, you're hearing woman or anyone who identifies.
It could be, and
I really don't want to get into all that, but I mean, there are people that are that are born with multiple, genitals, and there's that whole aspect. So I mean, that's why, I don't
There's
really.
the intersex people. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
there's
true.
intersex, so that's why I just want to be inclusive, and that's all.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
excuse me.
No,
That's all I meant by that. But,
good. All right, final
yeah.
question.
Okay.
Take real, and then your loving husband and your dog is over there. What percentage of people do you think are trans?
I don't have data on that.
Do you want to guess?
I don't know. A significant minority, but I don't know.
Like 10%?
Less than that, I would say.
1%?
Yeah, maybe around there, maybe a little less.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for talking to me today. Thank you. Any final comments before you go?
I'd just like to say thank you for talking with me.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah, I
Marcy.
appreciate your opinion. I respect your opinion. And,